Okay, welcome everyone to the August 14th, 2025 Facility and Purchasing Committee meeting of the Lower Merion School District. Please note if you're welcome everybody from the community and everybody. I hope your summer has gone well. And we just reminder that instead of putting notes, we prefer if you instead of putting notes into chat, we would that if you could please raise your hands if for community members if you want to speak. Let's move on and we can move to our first agenda item, which is a list of bills, which we have both the July list of bills and the August list of bills since we didn't have a July meeting. To my committee chair, members, do you have any questions on the list of either of the list of bills?
Kimberly,
Yes.
do you have any questions with regards to the list of bills?
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Okay, I don't have any questions on the list of bills either, Melanie.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and if we have any community members, there's no questions?
I don't see any hands.
Okay. Okay, so and I guess if Shayna comes on, we can check. She's not on yet, correct?
No, she's not.
Okay, so we'll just move forward and we'll check with her if she does come on. If you can just give me a prompt for that.
Sure.
Okay. So assume we're good to move these forward then with no questions.
Yes, Melanie, thank you.
Thanks.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay, next is the purchasing report.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm going to take both of the purchasing reports items, but I'll do them one by one. The first item is a recommendation that we purchase one stand-on type floor scrubber for Black Rock Middle School from Imperial Dade, which is a CoStar's purchasing consortium agreement, and that be approved in the amount of $18,962.21. Now, bear with me. There's some logistics here in terms of how we're deploying equipment. As you're aware, BlackRock opened 3 years ago, and at that time, as part of the move in and getting that building up and running, we did purchase two mechanical motorized scrubbers for the custodial staff there to handle the hallways. One is a stand-on unit similar to one that we're purchasing. That one will remain in service at BlackRock. And the other one we purchased was a higher end, more automated. They actually call it a robot. You can program the floor plan in, push start, and then it just drives itself, automated driving, if you will, through the hallways. What we're doing is we're taking that automated machine, putting it over at BC where it'll get better utilization. And then in order to backfill the equipment and get the equipment to where it needs to be, we're going to purchase this stand-on type scrubber. So you need an operator, and it'll operate in addition to the stand-on scrubber that's been there since the school opened. And if there's any questions. The second item, if we're okay, I'll move to the second item. CNG compressor services. This is specific to the compressor station that fuels our CNG buses at Lower Merion High School. Those compressor stations have routine scheduled maintenance that need to be done on certain intervals. We received pricing from Air and Gas Technologies, which is a proprietary company, one of the few people that services these systems. The quote for the routine maintenance coming up required a lot of parts that needed to be ordered. So under the arrangements during the summer months, the administration did authorize the $23,008.10 for Air and Gas to proceed with the scheduled maintenance. And this is being brought to the board in August for ratification.
Thank you, Mr. Lill. Jason, Kimberly, any questions on either of the two?
Actually, I do have a question just out of curiosity. I was wondering, what's the shelf life of the robotic scrubber, and does it perform better than a human?
The shelf life is a question I think we figure probably that's like a 7 to 10 year type of a thing because when you're involving anything in electronics, you do have a limited lifespan. It's just the nature of automated or electronic devices. The efficiency compared to it being staff, that's a great question. The efficiency you gain from this robotic scrubber, and there's a number of districts that use these. I had one in Downingtown. It's an area that you can cover an area like a hallway that's somewhat repetitive, and then you can have that custodian work in something like a classroom where that's more of a manual labor. So it gives some reduction in the amount of manual work that needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to drive it or ride it, and it does the same type of cleaning as an operator being on a ride on or a stand on. It's just that if the memory goes bad or it gets stuck because one of its sensors picked up something it wasn't accustomed to, you lose a little downtime because it's not as easy to just press reset or turn it on, turn it back off again. So as long as it's operating, it doesn't have any glitches, it's pretty effective.
Oh, okay. So is there a way to, well, have we looked at it in terms of what money we're saving by using it? Again, a
I,
curiosity question.
yeah, I, I I hesitate to say that the robot equals X number of FTEs because of the value and benefit that our custodial staff provides. But it
Right.
does give us the ability to redistribute the cleaning areas and remove the manual labor, if you will, the person hours in a hallway. If we can let the robot do it and do it um, itself, automated, completely on its own.
Okay, thank you.
I just wanted to confirm. So the reason why it's moving to Balkenwood is just that the layout at Balkenwood would be more conducive for the robot versus the manual.
Right, we get better utilization there and make sure we're using it because obviously if it's sitting in the closet, it's not getting any benefit. So we want to make sure it gets used and put to use. And based on all of the equipment that we have across here, we have scrubbers at all the middle schools. Balkenwood's the best location to deploy that robotic scrubber that's probably about 3 years old now.
Perfect. Thank you, Melanie.
Okay, thanks. So we're all good to move this forward?
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. So we have now the district contracts.
Good morning. Kimberly Fraser, Director of Student Services and Special Education. We have our administrative professional learning days yesterday and today's, and Mr. Weinstein is leading that. So I will be presenting on behalf of the curriculum department as well. So I'll just go through each of these, starting with the ones for the curriculum and instruction team. Learning A to Z, this is a renewal contract. This is a literacy resource that's used for dual language learners, for our English language learners, and for special education students in grades K to 8. It is a digital resource. It provides supplemental reading passages for students to be able to practice their literacy. It's a way for us to be able to support students who are not reading on grade level, who need those supplemental texts. Peter Noonan is a consultant. He is an expert in professional learning communities. This was presented in the April finance meeting. So this is just the contract that is connected with that. Professional learning communities are really important. We talk about the importance of professional learning and how that doesn't just occur on those days where students are off and staff are doing professional learning. Professional learning is ongoing and in many different ways throughout the school year. Professional learning communities is a systematic kind of staff professional learning and collaboration that's really focused on student growth and on academics. Peter Noonan will be coming in to work with selected staff over the course of this school year with, again, the focus on student learning. West EdOrg is, this is professional learning as well. If you recall, the curriculum team has talked about the PA integrated standards for science, technology, and engineering. These are the PA steels. It's an integrated standards that are new for implementation for this upcoming school year. West Ed was professional learning that was provided for the staff that will be implementing that. For student services, CCIU is the Chester County Intermediate Unit. We utilize them for some services that Montgomery County Intermediate Unit is not able to provide. So this is an intergovernmental agreement that says, like, here's the menu of potential services. Here's what the district anticipates receiving. It is all student-based, so it's based on individual student needs based on IEPs. Some examples might be like Chester County Intermediate Unit has some educational placements that we utilize for students who have needs that exceed what we can provide in district. And so CCIU is a provider of that. Frontline, this is a renewal contract as well. This is our software management system for health records. This is a very nominal increase, actually less than $1,000 from last year to this year. And again, it's about records management, staff facing only. Karen Panzarella is a renewal contract. Karen is an occupational therapist. She's an independent contractor who has actually been with the district for 25 years. She supports primarily students at the secondary level. Her rate is $71 an hour. That's in line with the other contracted agencies that we use for occupational therapy services within the district. MCIU social worker services. So this is part of the cost plan, which the board has approved, but we wanted to make you aware of this expense. For this, MCIU provides its specialized counseling through a social worker. So we have some students who are in adolescence who might have cognitive disabilities, who need additional support and specialized counseling when we're learning how to deal with our feelings that we're starting to have as we go through puberty and adolescence. How do we engage with peers? When I want relationships with peers, how do I go about doing that? So it is highly specialized counseling. It is, again, based on students' individualized IEPs, based on the level of support that we need. Typically, we have like 3 or less students a year that receive this direct service through MCIU. And then we have Lincoln Center. Lincoln Center, this is also a renewal contract. You may recall that we brought forward a contract in May for Lincoln Center for the 2 wellness counselors at the high school. We are, again, fortunately, based on grant funding, able to add another counselor. It will be a master's level school-based counselor. And the intention of this particular position is to provide additional support in our K-4 schools. In our smaller K-4 schools, we only have 1 full-time counselor. So this individual will be able to provide support in those 3 schools for the upcoming school year. And there is, for that one, the cost for 1 master's level counselor is $87,000. That's a 2.3% increase from last year, but it is the first increase that we've had with the Lincoln Center for the past couple years, and is based on just natural kind of cost of living increases that we see with services.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Fraser, for going over all these items. Any questions from the board?
No, thank
I had a
you.
couple of questions, unless Kimberly does.
No. Kimberly said no, thank you. So go ahead.
Oh, okay, sorry. Just a couple questions starting at the bottom. So the Lincoln Center, so the $87,000 is covered completely by the grant?
So right now, majority of it is paid by the grant. We're waiting on the state budget to see the additional grant funds that will cover the rest of it.
So of the elementary schools, how many counselors will be provided at each of the schools?
So our larger elementary schools, which are Penn Valley, Penn Wynne, and Gladwin, have 2 full-time counselors. And then at Belmont Hills, Marion, and Kinwood, there is 1 full-time district counselor. And now this additional support will be divided up among those 3 schools. So they'll get additional days each week with this additional counselor.
So I believe that's the exact same as last year, correct?
It is. That's exactly right.
Okay, so it's going to be consistent with what we had last year.
Exactly. Yep.
Perfect. The social worker services for MCIU, do we have an idea as to, we list as 150 per hour. On an annual basis, how much does that translate to?
So usually, again, it varies based on the needs of individual students, right? We typically have 3 or less students that require this specific service, and the frequency is usually 1 to 2 times a week. So you're looking at approximately, $150 to $300 per week per student that you would have.
And those are services that we can't provide in-house or that we've contemplated bringing in someone as an employee to utilize?
Correct, because it's such a low frequency to which we need it. It doesn't require then like a full-time staff member to be able to provide that. And again, it is highly specialized. We have, we obviously have social skills instruction and special education. We have counseling support through our counseling department. This is really highly specialized. Again, for those like secondary students who have cognitive disabilities, who may have difficulty like understanding how do I interact with my peers? Why is it important I interact that way? And I'm having these feelings and I don't know what to do with them, right? Because I just want to be friends, or I want this girlfriend or boyfriend. And really being able to know both like the counseling and social piece of it and supporting a student with significant cognitive disabilities.
I was just curious as to whether or not, let's say they were working 3 days a week, whether or not financially it made more sense to hire the person full time, and then the 2 other days they could provide other resources to our other schools, versus just having them the $150 per hour. So it sounds like it economically and from a strategic standpoint, from a financial standpoint, it's better to just keep it as is, as
Correct.
opposed to, okay.
Yeah, and as you
Um,
said, like they're not even here 3 days a week, right? That may be if there's like 2 students, right? You might have, like that might only be 6 hours a week, right? So it's a very limited amount that we need it, but we do need to provide it for those students who require it.
Perfect. The same thing with the occupational therapist, Karen Pengelly. On an annual basis, what does that translate to? Do we have an idea?
So I apologize that I don't have that figure here. And if I could make an estimate, but I honestly don't want to represent something that's incorrect. So I can share that with the board. Again, she's been with the district for 25 years. She, at this point, is working about 3 days a week for us to support secondary students. And then the additional needs that we have related to occupational therapy are provided through hostels, which the board has approved that contract. So she is our only remaining kind of like independent contractor, but we want her to stay as part of our team. She's been a longstanding, exceptional team member. We historically had several of these kind of like independent standalone contractors. She's the last remaining one.
Okay. I was just curious because I know that in elementary schools, I don't know how many occupational therapists, but I know that they're extremely overworked. And I was just curious as to whether or not bringing in again someone in-house that could provide those services and is an employee and then could be split utilizing other resources might be worthwhile as well. All right, and then the last question was just with regards to the West Ed and the Peter Noon for professional learning community. Are those opportunities that in the future we're looking to again? I mean, we have a very talented teaching and administration staff. Is that something that we hope to in the future be able to provide in-house as opposed to bringing in consultants?
Yeah, Kimberly, I'll take that one. Absolutely. So again, with my learning of going through everything one time, and we've spoken about that a few times with the board, this is part of that. PLCs are a consistent theme for us, and we want to make sure that our professional goals and our district goals and the expectations from the schools are consistent. And as a matter of fact, they're talking about that as we speak in our administrative meetings. So this is part of that. But moving forward, that is our desire, right? We have talented people. We want to be able to do it ourselves. So I asked that same question, and that will be the case moving forward.
Excellent. All right, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Jason. You got my question. So, is there any, I don't see, and I'm not seeing any other questions from any community members, if that's correct?
I do not see any raised hands.
Okay. Then are we good to move these forward?
Yes, please.
I actually I do want to ask a question in
Mhm.
reference to the MCIU 150 per hour. Do we really have a concrete number? Are we spending $50,000 a year or $100,000 a year on that line item? Do we
No,
know?
again, it's based on the needs of individual students and, not to seem, inaccurate. It is hard to pinpoint that. Students' IEPs are revised on at least an annual basis. Many of our teams meet more frequently than that. And it's not on a like every IEP team meets in August, right? Like IEP team meetings are happening throughout the year. Those services might change. So a student might start those services in December as opposed and another student might have it from September and have it throughout the course of the entire year. So I think your best estimate and a way to think about like the estimated cost for that is the fact that we generally have 1 to 3 students that require that service. The frequency is typically 1 to 2 times a week. That could either then be for, 30 minutes up to 2 hours per week per student during the typical school year.
Right. I recall you stated that earlier. Do we have the data on that, the actual numbers that we spent the year before for 2023 and for 2022? Do we have that data? Do we have those numbers, the hard numbers of what we actually spent? Or we're
I
still sort of estimating?
No, I could go back and pull that. I have to go to every individual invoice from CCIU because we are billed by student, right? So I would need to identify back per student what the cost was. I don't have that number memorized here today.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would like to see that at some point. I'm not saying that we can't move forward with this, but I think that we're not making an informed decision if we don't actually have some indication of how much we've been spending, like the real numbers. So thank you.
Okay. So, that means we're good to move this forward from both,
Yes.
okay. And Jason, you had said earlier.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So, let's move on to the next agenda item.
Yes, this is the Lower Marion Aquatics Club. This time of the year, we approve the license agreement for the next school year. The financial terms are the same, and most of the other items in the agreement are relatively the same. So this is pretty much a renewal for the next school year.
Yeah, and to clarify, this is revenue we receive because they're using our space, correct?
That is correct. They use up to 650 hours a year. They use the Lower Marion Pool for their practices and sometimes their meets, competitions. They've been doing this for decades.
Right. Yes. Thank you. Questions from Kimberly or Jason?
The only thing I would just comment is that I assume that our expenses have increased to maintain the pool as everything else has increased over the last couple of years. So I would just look to see in the future, I know that we want to try to keep our fees the same. But if our expenses are increasing, we might want to take a look at and see if there's like a nominal, just so that we cover those increases in expenses.
Yeah, the IM Pool Management Company, this is the final year of their contract, so there's no increase, Jason, for the last couple of years. That's why we didn't increase it. Next year, when we have a new contract, obviously there's going to be an additional increase in the license fee going forward.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. I was going to ask a similar question. So thanks, Jason.
Okay. Thank you both. We're good to move this forward?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks. And I guess we're moving to the iBoss web filtering services.
Good morning. Hello. iBoss is our web filter for all staff and students. It also provides us with SIPA compliance, which is the Children's Internet Protection Act. This is a 1-year renewal of that web filter. We were able to get a little under 78% discount for educational pricing. Total for this 1-year renewal is $82,935.40.
Thank you. Is that, how's that from the last year?
I'd have to pull up, I wasn't here last year, but I can pull up that information. I believe it's along the same lines,
Okay.
but I don't want to speak out of turn. I can pull that up from Power School and get that information to the board in the weekly update.
Okay, that would be good. Any questions from Jason or Kimberly?
No, thank you, Mel.
No, thank you.
Okay. Now, did we have one more for you as well after this? I'm
That's it for me
trying to
today.
remember the. Oh, that's it for you today. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Melanie, could I ask a quick question? We have
Sure,
the number from last year to answer Kimberly's question, so we could do this in real time. So Kimberly, if you want to jump on again.
Yeah, the amount.
I'm sorry, you're wrong, Kimberly.
That's okay. Yeah, but to answer your question, Kimberly, the amount that we expended on that specialized counseling last year was $6,075.
Thank you. I appreciate the efficiency.
Ditto. Thank you both.
And Melanie, no issue with moving the iBoss web filtering services forward.
Thank you, Jason. And Kimberly, is that the same?
Correct. Thank you, Mel.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate the prompt. I kind of lost where we were at. So the next one is the Integrated Security Systems Alertus.
Good morning. Integrated security is our panic button system that ties into the county CAD. It is the only panic button service that does direct dispatch to local law enforcement. This is a continuation of a program that we've had for multiple years. This year's contract is $35,142, which represents a $106 increase from last year, or 1/3 of 1%. So they're staying below the inflation rate. Subject to your questions, recommend approval of this going forward to continue the service.
Thank you. Any questions, Jason or Kimberly?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay. Are there any, I realize we haven't been asking the community members if there's any questions, but I'm not seeing any hands raised. So I guess we're good to move this forward?
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we can move on to the next item.
Thank you. That would be the item for Marion Elementary Electrical Service. And we're asking the board for approval of a time and material not to exceed amount of $8,500 for the engineering and design necessary to issue a bid package for the replacement of the existing underground high voltage power line at Marion Elementary School. These services would be provided by an engineering firm by the name of Snyder Hoffman. They have a long track record working with the school district and are very familiar with our buildings and our systems. After a public bid package would be issued at a later date, contractor bids received, we would come back to the school board with those bid results to ask for approval for a contract for construction to physically install the new power line. Now, if I could give a little bit of background or history as to this issue. The existing underground high voltage power cables at Marion were installed between the school building and Bowman Avenue. That's where it comes in underground, under Bowman and under the front lawn, under the front parking lot. Those cables were installed on or about 1971. So we have concerns about the age of the cables. Also, there's metal pipes and a concrete encasement that are installed to protect those power lines. Those have been compromised. So portions of this cable, 13,200 volts, are currently exposed to the soil and the elements, which is not good for the cable. So you may recall that a section of this power line, and this was in the front lawn of Marion, it actually failed on September 30th of 2024. Regrettably, we had to close Marion. There was no students were not able to come to school on October 1st because of the fact that we had no power in the building, and it takes about 24 hours to resolve that when we have an underground line failure. So in addition to that failure, there was another section that failed on June 20th. Now there we caught a break because students had finished the school year on June 17th. So once again, we had a building without power. It actually went several days, but it didn't impact any classes, and it had minimal impact on the 12-month staff. So what we're looking to do here, a project of this nature does take time based on the procurement and contracting requirements that we as a school district must comply with. We want to get this process started and proactively address this because of the fact we know we have a problem and it's been compromised, and we'd like to get this resolved sooner than later.
Thank you, Mr. Lill. Any questions, Kimberly or Jason?
No, thank you.
Just to clarify that this amount would be just to put together the information that we would need to go out to bid, right? So this would be preparing all the bid documents.
Correct. Actually, if you stop right there, I see the attachment. We have to go through state requirements for any kind of construction contract of the size. So we'd be putting together everything a bidder would need to submit a bid. So we have to give them all the information. Then in addition to that, we need the electrical engineer to properly show on drawings where this line is going to go, what type of cables have to be used, how it's going to fit, because we do have to work this cable in between two underground storm basins in that parking lot. So that's the types of things that you would typically see on a school construction project, although this is smaller than building a new building, but you still have to go through those steps and cover those requirements and make sure that information is covered and requirements.
We appreciate the proactiveness of it, and my understanding is not to go into detail, but that also there are proactive measures being taken or put into place so that if there is another issue during the school year that we can address that as well. So we appreciate all the effort that you're putting into this. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for that.
Melanie,
you
on the iBoss, just give it. So it's actually about $1,600, about $1,400 less this year price wise. The subscription fee went down like 25 cents per subscription less. So it's actually less this year paying than last year by about $1,400.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And that's good news. Okay. So what I just wanted to ask one more question on the bit. You were the potential of having to take the lines out of the just put a pole in. Would that be part of the like a temporary pole if we have problems? Would that be part of the bid, or would that be kept separately as just an emergency need if needed?
It would be part of the bid, so that wouldn't happen until sometime in January, February at the earliest, because of the fact, we'd have to go through all the bid processes. And from a logistical standpoint, we need to take that underground line out of service in order to install a new line, because we simply can't have a construction crew out there trying to install a new 13,200 volt cable on top of an active 13,200 volt cable. There's a safety and logistics there. So just from a constructability, I do anticipate poles running power during the construction phase. What we want to look into, and we need some time to do a little research on it, is there a way to get those poles installed sooner and then have the underground line taken out of service sooner? Those are some things in logistics we need to work out with the engineer, with Pico, but this is a good start. And then when we come to you in December, hopefully with bids, we can kind of tell you where we are with that step. But if there's any way to expedite a temporary feed into the building, we're going to explore those options.
Yeah, and Pico is now currently going through they're changing all the pools in our area. So this is actually, they may have some extra ones around.
I may go maybe pick up one of those used poles. But
yeah, I'll
let's
tell
not
you
say
where
that-
there are some.
Let's not say that in public. But yeah, I could envision 3 or 4 poles being out there, and it's one of the reasons we also wanted to bring this out into a public session because putting utility poles in the front lawn of a school is noticeable. It's not a bad thing, but we didn't want to surprise anybody.
Would this also require digging up the street a bit for people who use that street often?
Only if Pico decides to replace their portion of the cable. They're responsible for what's under Bowman.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be upset if they replace that portion of the cable because I'm going to assume it's also 55 years old. But the only thing we have any authority or ability to touch is basically where the line, if you picture the front of Marion, you have Bowman Avenue, you have that sidewalk. Just inside the sidewalk, just on the school side of that sidewalk, is right where that service splice takes place underground. We'll have a manhole there so they can be properly serviced, but I can't control what Pico would decide to do, from our connection point back under the road. Like I said, if they are going to replace it, that might be a bad thing. And I would anticipate if we're going to get into a situation where we're having Bowman shut down, and certainly if we have to dig up our own parking lot right by the front door, we'd hold that until the summer, but we'd have temporary provisions in there well before that.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sorry for the lengthy explanation. I'm running through the engineering in my head.
I appreciate it. Are we good to move this forward?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thanks, Mel.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Now, did we have any? We're at the end of our session, the meeting. There was one further update. I guess Dr. Ranelli, you wanted to mention about the
Playgrounds.
playgrounds. Thank you.
Yes, since before I started, a lot of effort and resources from Lower Merion have been poured into the understanding of the assessment of our current playground system and to give us an understanding what it would cost to build and erect and in the different elementary schools, inclusive playgrounds. And we contracted, everybody knows all the details, right? We contracted with Heckendorf and Shiles, and I will say publicly that they've been fantastic. They've met all their deadlines. They were prepared to give an update of the assessment and what all their research produced today. And we had some recommendations that we pushed that off until September for a couple of reasons. The main reason is we wanted to have respect for people over the summer for not being in town and not being able to join this meeting. And also to give them in this meeting right now, and we'll also do it at the board meeting on Monday night, a sort of an announcement that in the September meeting of F&P, of Facilities and Purchasing, we'll be doing that presentation. So if they can carve out some time to be at the September meeting, Heckendorf and Shiles will be here at this meeting in September to give that full presentation. So we're looking forward to that. So that was one of the main reasons. Another reason is Mr. Orlando and myself really have to talk about next steps and what is possible and what's not. We want to be very, very clear, transparent, and honest about what we see for the future and where we are based on the information that we received. So that's the announcement about the playgrounds, and we'll be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Thank you. Were we seeing
Thank you.
any hands raised?
I do not see any hands raised.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ranelli, for that update. If there's nothing further, I believe we are at the end of this meeting. And so that our next meeting will be on September 11th and look forward to the presentation about the playgrounds. And so I would thank you everybody who joined us today. And for those of you who still have a little bit of, did I see something?
That's just Kara saying thanks, everyone.
Okay, thanks everyone. Just double checking. Thank you, Kara. And I thank you everyone for joining us today. And enjoy the rest of your summer, and we will see you shortly. Thank you.